Hello? Hey, good morning, guys. We're in February now. I think today's like February 5th, so happy February. We're 1 month into 2022. All right, yeah, woo! You know, we're starting a new series today, but you guys will see that in a minute. But first, we're going to start off with our game. Name that nugget. All right, so pretty much the rules of this game is where does that nugget come from? Like, does it come from Burger King or does it come from like all that stuff? You know, like. So all right, let's see what we got. Oh, do you guys think that? Raise your hand if you think it's McDonald's. I heard McDonald's. Did I hear Burger King out there? No? Couple Burger King? All right, let's see what it is. It is McDonald's. Good job. You guys go to McDonald's a lot. I have no idea. All right, what do we got next? Oh, I got no idea. Popeyes, what do we got? KFC. KFC has chicken nuggets? All right. What do you guys say? You don't know? All right, what is it? Let's see what it is. Popeyes. Wow. There you guys go. Never had that. All right, what do we got for the second one? Oh, Burger King. I know that. Wait, no, that's Wendy's. Sorry. I think it's Wendy's. Burger King? Burger King? My money's on Wendy's. What do we got? Oh, I was wrong. That's tough. I should know, but I don't. Yeah, I still don't know. Wendy's, Arby's. Yeah, got Wendy's. All right, what do we got for this three-piece? Whoa, KFC. See, I didn't even know KFC had popcorn nuggets. Like, you learn new things every day, don't you? All right, what do we got next? What kind of nugget? Chick-fil-A. I think it's Chick-fil-A, but I have no idea. I haven't had Chick-fil-A nuggets in like a year and a half. All right, is it actually? What? I think that's a leg. Yeah. All right, what is it? It is Chick-fil-A. Hey. All right, do we have another one? Yeah. All right, let's. Is that Wendy's? It's probably Wendy's, considering we've rifled through a lot of them. All right, is it Wendy's? Going once? It is Wendy's. Woo! Yes. Good job, guys. Carl's Jr.? I don't like Carl's Jr. I've literally never been to Carl's Jr. in my life. Carl's Jr., like, I don't know, this looks like it would come out of frozen box. Like, that's what it looks like to me. All right, let's see what it is. It is Carl's Jr. Wow, I didn't know Carl's Jr. had star shape. Wonder what part of the body that came from. All right, then. All right, cool. Whoa. That looks like a tender, not a chicken strip. Oh, never mind, we're done. All right, so welcome to Student at the Heights. There are welcome cards on your seats all around you. I know you guys take them and move them on the ground. I would encourage you guys to fill those out, and then you guys get a free drink in the cafe because that's where I work. You know, it's a win-win situation. All right. Prayer request cards. Those are also there. So if there's something you would like us leaders to pray about, just write it down, and we'll pray for that. But if it's something where it's super confidential, you can write it to where only Pastor Matt will see it, and then Pastor Matt will be the only one who sees it, and I will never see it to the light of day. So all you have to do is turn it into the black box in the corner by the lights and the trash can, and the rest of those seats back there by the cork board. Tuesdays from 6 to 8:30, we have something called The Landing. This is to help with those hurting with hurts, hang-ups, and habits. I'm a leader there. We've got a few people in here that are leader there. Highly encourage you guys to go there. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be vulnerable when it's hard to be vulnerable. She says it's awesome. You should trust her because she's probably been here longer than I have, but I really like it too. You guys should go. You also get free food. Who doesn't like free food? I'm a big fan of free food. Corkboard in the back. So those of you guys with events coming up, so if you've got a choir, band, basketball, wrestling, skiing event. I don't know. If you guys are skiing, that's awesome. But just write them up. Just write them down. Throw them up there on the cork board. Tell us like time, place, your name, like what it's gonna be. You know, like just that information we should know. And cheer competitions and plays. I'm sure some of you guys are in theater. All right. Now another super huge thing coming up is we got Hume Lake. Woo! Hume Lake. Third time's the charm. How many of you guys have already signed up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's too many. I'm going to count right now. But that's good. That's good numbers. Hume Lake, it's an awesome place. Those of you guys that haven't signed up, sign up. It'll be 100% worth your while. I've gone twice out of the 3 times we've ever gone. Best experiences of my life. You guys should definitely do it. I believe there's still a $50 registration fee. And then I don't know how much it is after that, but it's worth it. I know it's worth it because, you know, it is. What do we got next? After Hume. Baptisms. All right, so those of you guys that are ready to take the next step in your faith, baptisms. This is that next step. And so if you guys are thinking about this, we'll be having a short baptism class after the first service next week. So if you're ready to make a public declaration of your faith, baptism is the way to do it. We even have the pool right there. And so, yeah, if you guys have been thinking about it, do it. Compassion. So we've been supporting these 3 kids, Ian, Zaw, and still don't know. What? Wildy, yes. Wildy are our compassion children. So it's $90 a month to support the 3 of them. That's $30 a person, which means if everybody brings $1, there's, I think, 30 people in here, maybe a little less, I don't know. That means that like you guys could easily do that. If each one of you just brought $1 and then did it, we would be able to support these kids so easily. I mean, even then some, you know. So I would highly, highly recommend that if your heart wants to give, this is a good place to start. Oh, that's it? Cool. All right, well, let's go worship team, yeah. Woo.
Let's see, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Sounds good, yeah. Yeah! Okay, so how's everyone's morning going? I love the dead silence. It's great. It's going great? Thanks.
Nothing can separate. Even if I ran away, your love never fails. I know I still make mistakes, but you have new mercies for me every day. Your love never fails. You stay the same through the ages. open seas. Your love never fails. The chasm is far too wide. I never thought I'd reach the other side. Your love never fails. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. It may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And when the oceans rage, I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. Your love never fails. You make all things work together for my good. You make all things work together for my good. You make work together for my good. You make all things work together for my good. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. It may be late in the night, but joy comes in the morning. When the oceans rage, I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. Your love never fails. Oh, oh, your love never fails.
Okay, this next song is one I feel like everyone knows. So you guys want to get like hyped up, because this is a very high tempo song and it's gonna be fun. Yeah, thank you. Yes, please. I like the energy.
Was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now mercy, my soul when I met you. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open. When you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day.
All right, why don't you guys go ahead and have a seat real quick. Go ahead and have a seat real quick. We're gonna do something different this morning on a couple of different ways. Starting off with this morning, we're going to participate in what the adults are participating in right now, and that's a thing called communion. And what communion is, it's a kind of, you call it a ceremony, call it a rite, you call it a way to remember. It's something that Jesus did on the last night when he was hanging out with his disciples, his best friends, his crew, and he gathered them together in an upper room, and he had dinner with them. And after dinner, the Bible tells us that after they ate, he took bread and he broke it. And he said, "This is my body broken for you. As often as you eat this, remember me." And in the same way, he took the cup of wine after, and he blessed it, and he gave thanks, and he said, "Everyone drink of this. This is my blood poured out for you for the remission of sins. This is a new covenant, and I want you to remember, every time you do this, remember me." And I think this is Jesus' way of instituting something that God used to do in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, he would do miracles and he'd do wonders for the Israelites, and he would have them like stack up a bunch of stones by the side of a river or make an altar, and he would tell them, when your grandchildren's children's children ask what this is, tell them what I did here. And communion is a way of doing that. It's a way of remembering that a holy and perfect God came down from heaven and he walked among us. And he loved us so much that he made a way that we could spend eternity with him. Even though we sin, even though we do the wrong things, he made a way that we could be with him. He paid a debt of sin that we owe on our behalf, just because he loves you. And so this morning we're going to take communion. We're going to pass the plate around. There's stacked cups in there. So take 2 cups. On the top there's juice. On the bottom there's a piece of bread. And as the band plays this song, contemplate and think about what this means and why we're doing it. And remember the price that God has paid for you. If you're gluten-free, there's cups in the center ring that are kind of a pink color. Those have gluten-free bread on them. But let's remember this morning as we go through this next song.
will sing out hallelujah, and we will cry out hallelujah. All the hearts who are content, and all who feel unworthy, all who heard nothing left, will know that you are holy. All will sing out hallelujah, we will cry out hallelujah, and all will sing out hallelujah, we will cry out hallelujah. Shout it, go on and scream it from the mountains. Go on and tell it to the masses that He is God. Shout it, go on and scream it from the mountains. Go on and tell it to the masses that He is God. Shout it, go on and scream it from the mountains. Go on and tell it to the masses that He is God. Shout it, go on and scream it from the mountains. Go on and tell it to the masses that He is God, and we will sing out hallelujah, and we will cry out hallelujah, we will sing out hallelujah, God. Shout it, go on and scream it from the mountains. Go on and tell it to the masses that He is
The body of Christ. The blood of Christ poured out for you. Father God, we come before for you today. I thank you so much for everything that you've done on our behalf. That you willingly gave up your life on a cross to pay a debt of sin that I owe, that I could never pay on my own. And the only thing you ask for in return is my faithfulness and my love, and that I would live my life for you. This morning, God, as best I know how, I just ask you to forgive me of my sin and help me to walk in a way that would glorify and honor you. Help me to live a life that would speak to others about the sacrifice that you've made on our behalf. Then more and more people would know your saving grace and this message of salvation. Jesus, we love you so much, and we pray these things in your holy name. And every people said, amen. Hey, make some noise for the band right there. Do you pass your cups to the center, and we will collect those as they come forward. Bring the lights up in the room real quick, because I want to tell you guys we're going to do Wait, settle down. We're going to do another something different, and this one's crazy different. It's February, and there's one holiday in the month of February. Who knows what it is? What is it? Valentine's Day. Yeah. Shh. Okay, wait. Shh. Okay, wait. Shh. So Valentine's Day. That means it's time for our annual series on sex and dating. Okay, so it's all right. So it's awkward, especially because there's a great age difference between seniors, and we've got some 7th graders in here who are going, what? We're going to talk about what in church? All right, so we're going to do something different this year. I want to give messages that are specifically tailored to kind of where you guys are at in life. So if you are in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, please stand up. 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, please stand up. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow Sandy, and we're going to go around into the 500 room, and we're going to give a message specific for you guys. High schoolers, you're going to stay right here. Riley is going to talk to you. So J-High, follow my wife, Sandy. We're going to go into the other room. Everyone else stay put right here. And make some noise for Riley.
Good morning. We're going to have so much fun talking about dating. Ugh. Maybe I want them to be farther away from me. I need my space. I need room to breathe. Okay, listen up. How do you guys feel about dating? What did you say, Max? It's mid. Everything about it is mid. It's an awkward question, huh? It's an awkward topic. Because, let's be real, dating is awkward. Dating is awkward. I remember dating and it being awkward, especially when I was your age. I felt like everyone was telling me I was supposed to be looking for the one. Supposed to be looking for the one. You're on a journey to find the one, your soulmate, your perfect match. Except my mom. My mom would tell me, just date lots of different people. Just date lots of different types of people and build a criteria for like who you're looking for. And I was pretty sure I knew better. You know, I was pretty sure that every boyfriend I had was the one, was like my soulmate. And then we'd break up and I'd be like, well, I don't know what to do now. That was it. In fact, can I tell you a story about someone I thought was the one? Okay, when I was in college, I was dating this guy, and it was going really great. Like, he seemed great. I was ready to, like, pick out wedding colors. I thought it was the real deal. And then during a break, he took me to his hometown to meet his family, right? I know, it's cute. And while we're visiting, like, I'm meeting his parents, I'm meeting his sisters, and he's like, do you want to see, like, my childhood room? And I'm like, yeah. So he takes me to see his childhood room, and get this, no, it gets worse. There's, like, holes in the drywall everywhere, and the closet door is ripped off the hinges. And I was just like, what's that about? And he goes, I got mad. Red flag! What's going to happen to me when you're mad at me? Are you going to rip my little arms off their hinges? There was like holes all over the drywall, and it was a big closet door, you guys, just torn out of the doorway. So he was not the one. But I thought he was. Ugh. Here's the thing that I think connects us, right? I think a lot of us are sold us on this idea that the one is out there somewhere, right? We just have to find them, and then everything else will like fall into place, and it'll be perfect, right? What are the words? Happily ever after. Gag. Yeah, the Disney movies, the Hallmark Christmas specials, Bachelor in Paradise, Married at First Sight, 90 Day Fiancé. The one. 90 Day Fiancé is so good. But just because everyone's scamming each other. We all get sold on this idea that we find our perfect match and we find the one. So we're going to be talking about dating for a few weeks. Do you guys even use the word dating still? Is it kind of dated? Yeah. Maybe it seems kind of old-fashioned. And the truth is that relationships get way more complicated than that, right? There's like a million different ways you could categorize a relationship. Maybe you're hanging out. Maybe you're talking. Maybe you just have like a snap streak. Maybe you FaceTime every day. Maybe, this is my favorite word that one of my girls taught me, maybe it's a situationship. It's my favorite word. Right? It goes way deeper than that. So while we talk about dating, we're going to categorize it like this. We're going to define it as being in a relationship, whatever it looks like, where the other person means more to you than just a friend. When we say dating, that's what we're going to operate on. This person is more than a friend. So, sure. Because relationships get pretty complicated, right? So just as a little, let me try to speak your language, just as a little self-assessment for where you are on dating, we're going to do a put a finger down challenge. 10 fingers up. Put a finger down if you're not looking for the one, you're just looking for someone, anyone. Put a finger down. Listen up. If you can't seem to meet someone you're interested in, you're open to the idea, but no one really meets your standards. This one is too relatable. Put a finger down if the person you're interested in isn't interested in you. Ugh. If your version of the one is different than your parents' version of the one for you, or different than what society says the one is. If you're dating for the one and they're dating just for fun. Put a finger down if you have a growing list of requirements in order for them to be the one. Put a finger down if you think life doesn't really start until you've found the one and you've been waiting forever. I know, right? You haven't been on a date, you aren't thinking about dating, you don't even want to date, but it seems like everyone's telling you you should be dating. And then these last two are kind of heavy hitters. Put a finger down if you think that having a significant other will be validating, solve all your problems, and you will be cool. Becca's like, she's reading me. The library's open. Okay, last one. Put a finger down if you feel like half of a person and the other half is out there somewhere. That really, yeah. I'm my perfect match. Okay. If you put any fingers down, you're probably feeling some type of way. Who has the most fingers up? Max is like, I'm good. 10 out of 10. Whatever. Okay, you're probably feeling some type of way about dating, and I would encourage you to come back for the next few weeks because we're going to talk it through, right? We're going to have some really good messages about dating. On top of this, here's what I want to know. Some of you might be thinking, great, now I get to come to church and hear about dating from old married people who haven't dated in years. I'm older than 20, but thank you. And they're just going to tell me that I shouldn't date and I should stay single and just read my Bible and pray about it, right? Have you seen the video where the dad is like, you're going to be a nun. You're going to work for Jesus. Have you seen that video? That's Riley today. So I want you to know that the point of today is not convincing you not to date. The point of this series is not about making you feel guilty for dating or not dating, for having a significant other or not, for wanting to have one. In fact, listen to me, we're not discouraging dating at all. The next few weeks are just about helping you date well, giving you some tools and some skills. So no matter how you're feeling about dating, whether you're interested or not, whether you've never dated or maybe you have, a significant other, or you're obsessed with the idea of finding them, chances are that dating might be a part of your life in the future, right? You might get to that point where you want to date or you are dating. So I'm sure you'd like to figure out, what does it look like the one, or to find the one? Or what would it take to be the one, right? For someone else. The good news is that we can work through it together. The good news is you don't have to try and figure this out all on your own. When it comes to relationships with one another, the Bible has a lot to say about it. Even if it doesn't really talk about dating, the Bible doesn't really mention dating specifically, and that's for a pretty good reason. This book was written thousands of years ago when people didn't even really date. Their parents just kind of arranged it and then exchanged some cows or some money, and then you were married. They didn't really date. So the Bible doesn't specifically talk about dating, but it talks about relationships and gives us some really good information that we can use towards our dating life. So we're going to be in a book called Proverbs today. It's a whole book dedicated to wisdom, which just basically means it's learning to make better choices. A couple guys sat down and tried to compile all the wise things that God was telling them, and one of these guys is Solomon. Does anybody know Solomon? He didn't cut the baby. He just said he was going to cut the baby. He didn't do it. So Solomon was one of the famous kings of Israel. And in his early life, God gave him this incredible amount of wisdom. God said he would give him anything, and Solomon was I want to be super wise. And even though he was super wise, he didn't always make good decisions. Some lessons he learned the hard way. He didn't always do better, even though he knew better. But he's going to talk about something in Proverbs that is super useful. So, in Proverbs 24:27, it says, "Put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house." What does that have to do with what we're talking about? He's talking about houses, right? He's talking about the best way to build a house. And a lot of things in the Bible, it's not specifically talking about our situation. It's meant for someone else and house building, but we can turn it towards our message. We can use it. It holds a universal truth that we can apply to a ton of different situations. And again, I want to preface that Solomon, remember I said he didn't always make great choices even though he knew better. He did have 100 wives and a whole bunch of side chicks. And his dating life was a mess. Yeah, perfect example. But we can use this, little tidbit of wisdom towards our dating life. So, his to-do list goes like this, right? First, get your land ready for a house, then build your house. Now, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, I don't build houses. And I don't know a ton, surprise, I don't know a ton about house building, but I can kind of wrap my head around this, right? First, you've got to prepare the ground and level it, and then lay your foundation, and then build your house, right? So the most critical part before you actually build is having a good foundation. In other words, you need to take the right steps in the right order, and we can apply that to dating. Life works the same way. Prepare now, and you'll succeed later. Basically, if you want to be successful at something, you have to prepare its foundation first. Like a test, I was just going to say. So there are some times where maybe intellectually we know this is true, but do we always do it? Do we always know? We know that we need to prepare beforehand for something to turn out well, but do we always do it? You knew the test was coming for 3 weeks, but you didn't start studying until the car ride to school. Guilty. Or not study at all and hope you get a good grade. Or you need to have a certain GPA to go to this certain college or to play on the team, but you don't really start worrying about your grades until the end of the semester. Or the tryouts are coming and you should be practicing, but you're binging on Netflix instead. Who said facts? Yeah, relatable. Getting read. So, if we want a good result, we have to take the right steps in the right order. And I think we can all safely say none of us want dating to turn out bad, right? None of us want a bad dating result, wound up on a bad date. So, again, this isn't about shaming people or telling people that you're dating wrong. It's just about an approach to make your life a little easier, a different approach to take to get the result you want. So if we're going to apply Solomon's Guide to Home Building to your dating, this is what it would look like. Ready? Get yourself ready to date and then start dating. Prepare the foundation first and then try to look for a relationship or enter a relationship. So, how do you get yourself ready to date? That's the big question, right? Instead of, get this, instead of waiting to find the one or looking endlessly for your perfect match, work on becoming the one. Because when we talk about dating, becoming the one is better than finding the one. So, if you want to take a wise approach to dating and you want your relationships to have the best chance at succeeding, start by building a good foundation. And that starts with you. Start with yourself before you try to find your match. The problem is that doesn't always come naturally to us, right? We can set a super high list of standards for who we're looking for, way easier than meeting them ourselves. It's way easier to say, this is the list of things I'm looking for, rather than this is the list of things I want to be. So how would we even begin to do that? So we're going to look at a passage that talks about love. It's from a letter written by the Apostle Paul. Do we know Paul? He's pretty famous. He's pretty well known. He planted most of the first Christian churches. He wrote a ton of letters back and forth to them that we still read today. And can I say that Paul was a guy who, by the way, talked a bunch about staying single and how you don't need to get married ever if you don't want to. He was like known for it. Yeah, he did. He also really hated Christians. So let's talk about preparing yourself first. He really hated Christians for a long time and then did some internal work. So he wrote a letter to the church in a city called Corinth, and we're going to read a passage from it. It's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. It's a really famous verse, especially if you've ever been to like a Christian wedding. They probably read this. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Have we heard that one? Really? I guarantee you're going to hear it everywhere you go now, because it's a super famous, well-known passage for this purpose, for talking about love and marriage and dating and relationships. So, it's a good list. I think it's really easy to read that list and think, man, that sounds so good. I want that kind of relationship, right? I want that kind of love. But if we lay a foundation and we focus on ourselves first before we move on to someone else, what does that look like? What does that passage mean for me? It means before we start looking for all these qualities in someone else, we focus on becoming that kind of person right now, whether we're dating or not. Because the truth is, developing these kinds of qualities and learning to demonstrate them in your own life will pay off no matter what your relationship status is. And you never really arrive at becoming the one. When we talk about this list of things, you don't give up starting to work on, what are the things he says? Kindness and patience. You don't check one off. You don't learn to be patient and then move on to the next one. It takes some work, it takes some time, and the rest of your life will benefit from it. Even if people never choose to get married and they keep working on these things, it will translate into your dating life, into your friendships, into your family relationships, everywhere. These ideas we talked about together apply in all sorts of areas of our life. And when it comes to dating, I think we create that list, right? The book uses an analogy of binoculars or a mirror. We set out looking with binoculars, right? We say I want somebody who is funny. I want somebody who's good looking and is into the same things I'm into. And I wanted someone who had goals and had the hustle, because I want to be a power couple. But he can't be too outdoorsy, because I want to sit on the couch on Saturdays. I don't want to hike and camp and fish. So we set out with these binoculars and we're looking for the person, right? But if we look at this passage and turn it back on ourselves, we can kind of set up a mirror instead of binoculars and look back on ourselves and say, do I have these characteristics? Do I look like this kind of person? Because the truth is, and I hate to break the news to you, no one person can fulfill every one of your needs. There's no perfect match. There's no one person that meets every one of your requirements. So I would invite you to turn your gaze back inward. You know, who do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be, whether you're dating or not? Do you want to be a kind person, a loving person, someone who is kind and patient and generous and humble and wise? All these things that Paul is talking about. Do you have some red flags? Some holes in the drywall, and some closet doors ripped off the hinges? You know, that is such a long story, Keely. We just don't have the time. So I think the other part of relationships is we think we get into a relationship, we find the one right, and naturally we will just know how to treat them. We will just know how to be a good partner. We will know how to treat them how they deserve. And another hard truth is that when it comes to relationships, it takes practice, and it is really difficult. It is difficult to be in a relationship. Any of you who have been in relationships probably know that it takes work, and you don't just become good at being patient and kind. You don't just get these qualities by accident. So, if you want higher quality of life, whether you're dating someone or not, it's important to focus on these things now. And the best part of this is that becoming the one is so much more than just looking to date, right? Dating is not the only reason to work on yourself. You can become the one just so that you're known as a person who loves others well and treats others well. You can become more like Jesus, who was like known for treating people well, even the people that he had no reason to. That's what following Jesus does. It doesn't just change your dating life. Working on yourself and working to be more like him can benefit every area of your life. It doesn't just wind up changing your dating habits. It changes your relationships with friends and family members, coworkers, in your education, in your work, with strangers. Following Jesus helps us grow as people and become more like who he created us to be. And some of you are probably already dating and have been dating for a while, and maybe you're wondering, like, is it too late for me to start doing this? No, it's never too late to work on becoming the kind of person that Paul is talking about. After all, this is like a lifelong process. Even after, if you choose to get married, you can still work on yourself. If you haven't started dating yet, or you're not really thinking about it, you're in the perfect position to start working on this because, shocker, becoming the one, becoming this kind of person isn't really about dating at all. It's about you for the sake of you. And it really will affect every other area of your life. Taking the time to work on yourself will benefit every part of your life. And when I talk to you guys about the things going on in your life a lot, and I hear you guys say a lot of the same things. I talk to you guys about your choices, especially the choices that you guys like maybe aren't proud of after you do something you kind of wish you hadn't. And I try to say the same thing every time. You get to decide what kind of person you are. You get to decide what you stand for, what your beliefs are and your values, and you get to decide where your life takes you. And developing these kinds of qualities in yourself is a big part of that. So, if you want to take a more intentional approach to dating or just becoming the kind of person you want to be, there are some steps, right? First, you can choose who you want to work on becoming. Look at these list of characteristics Paul is talking about. Which of these would you like to focus on? Which ones are you doing really well with? Which ones do you maybe need some work? Take a hard look at the areas you're doing well in and the areas you're struggling in. Maybe you already have like the kindness down, but like patience could use some work. Maybe you're pretty wise, but like not always generous. You can take an inventory about which things you need some help on, and then practice. Maybe you're already doing this, but if not, give it a shot. If jealousy is your thing, and that was my thing, try being excited for someone when they get the thing you want. Or if patience is where you're having a hard time, try to exercise that. Or forgiveness, try to choose forgiveness when you're in a difficult situation with someone. And then repeat. Keep coming back to this process over and over. And if you repeat these steps at different points in your life, you'll constantly be growing and becoming more like the person Paul is talking about, Paul's definition of love, throughout all these different phases of your lives and relationships. Over time, you'll continue moving in the direction of becoming the one and becoming more like Jesus. You know, I tell this story in my small group a lot, but my husband and I were really good friends when we were kids. We were good friends through high school, and when we graduated, we kind of drifted away from each other a little bit, like grown-ups do. By the time we found our way back to each other, I was an adult in college, and I was at a place where I just did not like myself, like as a person. I just was not a good person. I'd gone down a road I wasn't proud of. I didn't like how I treated people. I didn't feel like I had good values. And when I met my husband, I realized some of the nonsense I had been pulling in other relationships was not going to fly here. And if I wanted him to be like my forever relationship, I needed to make a change. But not only for him, for myself too, just to feel good about the person I was, to lift some weight off my conscience, to feel good looking in the mirror and not feel like, that's a bad lady, I don't like her, you know? So I took some time and I did some real work on myself, and it involved like some introspection, a hard look at the way I was treating other people. And my entire life really did benefit from it. Be intentional about the kind of person that you want to be, you know? Not only for a future partner, but for yourself, to be more like the person you were created to be and live the best possible version of your life. Okay, we're going to pray, and then I'll let you guys go. God, thank you so much for gathering us together. We're so thankful that we can come and hear your word and hear more about your calling for our lives, hear more about the values you wish for us to instill so that we can benefit most. We are so thankful that you have this book that tells us all these wise things about the kind of people we can become through you. We pray that you would help us instill these in our lives, help us to grow and change into the people you created us to be. We love you and we're thankful for you. We say these things in the name of your son. Amen. What does Matt say? You guys are out of here.